I don't know. I just wanted to share the knowledge with people. I actually started to really like this because I think the more you give to the community, the more you comes back in some sense.
Absolutely.
So because I met so many amazing people by just giving the knowledge on the YouTube, and I think this is also opportunity for me to build this high quality material, so people use this course for their career, and they may say, okay, the course from Evgenii is actually amazing, and it helped me a lot in my journey. That's what I would probably I wish to hear in the future. So hopefully.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 17th episode of the Frontend Masters podcast. Hi, I'm Mark Kubansky, CEO of Frontend Masters, and today we have Evgenii Ray on the podcast. He has a really interesting journey going from a small town in Russia to JetBrains, all the way to a staff engineer at Meta in London right now. So it's a fascinating conversation, and I hope you enjoy it. Well, Evgenii, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So this is an interview style podcast, so I'll just be asking questions. We'll go through your career journey, and So the first question is a warm-up question, though. Do you have any special skills that you have that people might not know about?
I don't think I have any special skills. I think I have some quality that helps me throughout life. It's persistence. So I think I can't say that I'm like smart guy, but if I have some complex thing to resolve, I usually resolve it through some persistence. So, for instance, for my colleagues, it may take to resolve the problem in 1 day. For me, it can be 7 days. But yeah, the persistence as a quality, I think it's something that helps me a lot throughout the life.
Absolutely. It's the whole thing of like talent versus hard work.
Yes.
And if you just have hard work and you persist, you're going to probably outwork somebody who's maybe like more talented from the get-go, but they just don't have that like work ethic. That's cool. How about anything that you love doing, or even like outside of work kind of thing?
So I think I have a hobby, kind of. Like, I really love hiking because we are a software engineer. We see it a lot at the job. So I do like going outside and just hike mountains, and also I also do the wakeboarding. Do you know what's that?
Wakeboarding, like behind a boat?
Yeah, but you can also be behind the cable.
Oh yeah.
So it's also a pretty nice activity. And in London, apparently, we have a few good places where you could do the wakeboarding.
Oh, cool.
And I also love snowboarding, but in London, it's hard to find. Yeah, not the best place for snowboarding, though.
I think like last night you mentioned like the 3 Peaks challenge.
Yeah.
Did you do that? Did you actually do it, or do you want to?
I did, but in 3 days. So the original one is 24 hours. So it's something probably I need to consider, but
so
I'm not
like
sure.
24 hours, like 3 of the biggest mountains.
Yeah. And this includes the time in the road.
What are the 3 mountains?
So it's a Snowdon. I think it's Scuffle Pike, and the third one I don't remember.
Okay, and the goal is to do it in 24 hours.
Yeah.
You did it in 3 days, though. It's still impressive. Must have been hard work. Right?
I was dead.
Cool. And what's your background like? Where did you grow up?
So I'm originally from a very small city in Russia, which is close to the Kazakhstan border. It's called Balakova. So you don't need to know the name of the city. So I started I was in school there, and then I moved to St. Petersburg for my bachelor and master degree. And during the bachelor and master degree, I found my first job. I think it was on the second year of university. It was a very kind of low-paid software engineer job. I think it was around $100 per month. But I was so excited because as a junior engineer, I know how hard it is to find the first job because there are so many juniors. But this is how I started my journey.
That's cool. Was that in like around, I think it was like 2010-ish or?
So it was 2013.
13?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, And then like, what was your first experience with code, or like, how did you decide to like, start down this journey?
So surprisingly, I didn't code much until the first year of university because, I don't know, I tried UI development, I think, on the 10th year of school, and I couldn't make it. There were not much good tutorials, and I didn't know how to start. And then when I moved to St. Petersburg and started to study computer science in university, so I had a choice. Either I find a job as a software engineer, or I need to go to work on McDonald's or somewhere because I needed some money. And so what I did is, and in university we started to learn the C++ and C, and I think C++ and C are the worst languages to start your programming journey. So
how are they the worst? Not user friendly, right?
They're not user friendly, and especially the concept of the pointers. I really couldn't get this because I was like zero experience in coding, and you're trying to explain me what are the pointers, and it was really hard to me.
So your first courses were in like C++, kind of thing. How did you find like JavaScript and UI programming?
Okay, that would be a funny story because so we started learning to learn Java. So we had a Java course on the second year of university, and basically the guy who was teaching the Java said, "Okay, for 2 students, we'll provide internship if you guys do well on the course job." And I was complete zero in Java, but I found a very nice playlist from some Indian guy. There are like 200 tutorials how to build their Java application, and it was like UI Java application. And so I think it was around 120 hours of content, and I just parsed this content in 1 week and built my first Java application using this channel. And apparently the teacher was impressed and invited me for the first job. I felt like there was not much content in Russian language, so knowing English helped me a lot. And I already mentioned in our private discussion that I started to learn language pretty late, so my first year of uni.
Okay, and so you said that was in Java, like the playlist, or the like on YouTube or whatever? Or
it was on YouTube.
Okay, and it was just like a 120-hour Java, but it wasn't JavaScript.
It was Java, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like UI in Java.
Yeah.
So it's like desktop apps, that kind of thing. Okay, and then like how did you find the web, or like web programming?
So I started my career as a Java engineer, and for quite a while I worked on the backend.
Okay.
So I think my first 2 jobs were backend related.
Okay.
And then I was always kind of interested in the JavaScript stuff, and in my job, I was offered opportunity to build some internal UI tools, and I was like, why not? And it was and we used the Angular 2, I think, for that. And it was a pretty nice experience, and I really fell in love in the JavaScript. I don't know, I just I love the language, how it looks like, because Java is so verbose, but JavaScript could be very concise, and I really liked about it. And also, if you look how many APIs being released on the web, it was crazy. Like every week we get a new library, we get a new API, and all this.
So like the pace of change.
The pace of change was incredible, and also it was a time when we had so many apps being released on Electron, and now with JavaScript you can do native, you can do desktop development, and it was so amazing to me. And yeah, I just decided to switch, and I started to learn JavaScript on my own. Just reading the books. I think first books I started to read from Kyle Simpson, actually.
Okay, yeah. You don't know JavaScript book series?
They're pretty good.
One. Yeah. And then was that at JetBrains then when you kind of made that switch from back end to kind of front end?
Yeah. So I had an interview with JetBrains initially for a full stack position. and then so the interview was about like concurrency, all the Java stuff, and and slightly about JavaScript. And then when I came to JetBrains, I actually started to work mostly on the UIs, and that helped me a lot in terms of my career boost, because the problems that we did at JetBrains, they were pretty interesting. And so the JetBrains was good because the team size was pretty small, but we were very efficient, and we could do whatever we want in terms of how we do the code. There was lots of freedom. And I think because of that, I managed to try like different libraries, different approaches, how everything works internally, and it really helped me to build this confidence in the UI stack.
Yeah, cool. So you're able to kind of make that transition, like on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And like, how did you end up getting that job? Because you said you had like a bunch of kind of small backend jobs, or like at small companies, not getting paid very much. And how did you make that transition to JetBrains?
So my friend referred me. Initially, we worked together in a company. It's a German branch called T-Systems. And then he transitioned to JetBrains, and then said, "Oh, it's so cool there. Come to us."
With you.
And the interview preparation for that company was pretty hard, because I knew that the interview at JetBrains is crazy hard. It's not lead code or something. They really ask you some very practical things, like how the Java compiler works internally and all of that. So you needed to know all these details. That's why I took 2 months of PTO just to prepare for the interview, and I prepared like full time for that. And it paid off.
Yeah, I guess that's the persistence that you're talking about. It's like, I'm not going to just do this interview. I'm going to take 2 months off and go hard at it. Cool. And then, from JetBrains, you got hired at Meta, right? Could you tell us the story there? Or Facebook at the time, right?
It was a COVID year, and so everything was like locked down.
Okay.
And I started to explore the opportunities outside Russia, because I always wanted to relocate from the country. There was a feeling that kind of the window of opportunities like shrinking, and the situation in the country wasn't really stable. And I felt like, it's time to go, because also I really love speaking to people from different cultures, and so what I thought at that moment, that any experience of relocating to some country will actually makes you the better person, because you learn different cultures and and different people. So I started to explore all the job opportunities. I think so I had an interview with Amazon in Canada. I also submitted my application to Apple in London. It was also Meta, Microsoft, and I just looked at the different countries except the US, because the US was crazy hard with the visa restrictions.
Very difficult to get into.
And I ended up getting an offer from Meta and from Amazon, but because there were a few issues with Canada why I didn't want to relocate there. The first one, apparently in Canada, it takes 3 years to get the driving license.
Wow!
If you don't have it. So, and I didn't have the driving license back in that time. So, and I couldn't imagine how to live without driving license in the very car-centric country.
Yeah,
so
Canada's very spread out.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the US. You really need a car.
And also, so my partner is a doctor, and so if we would relocate there, it would take around 5 years to get a job as a doctor, because you need to pass all the possible exams in the country. And UK was a good balance, because it was also very close to St. Petersburg. So I could imagine like the airplane tickets cost like $20 at that moment, $20 and it was only like 4 hours flight. And I could imagine that we could easily go to London And because London's so very well connected with Europe, we can travel around. And yeah, I thought it was a better deal. And also, it was much easier for my partner to get the doctor license in London.
Yeah, cool. And do you have any like advice, looking back at kind of your college days and getting into JetBrains and then Meta, like, do you have any advice as far as kind of those early steps and getting into the field?
So I think you need to start looking at the internship as early as possible. Like on the first year of your uni, just try to find some internship because this will give you the first experience in the industry. And also, the advice I would give myself in the past, just if you have opportunity to study abroad, just go ahead because this is the best actually time to do that. Once you're finish your uni, you get a job and you become more stable, so it's harder to move. But while you're like in uni, you have so much opportunities to explore the world and just if you have opportunity to study in Japan, why not just go and do that?
I definitely regret not doing study abroad when I was in college for sure. That's good advice. And then so I first came across your content on systems design on YouTube. Like, how did that come about? How did you decide to start the YouTube channel and that kind of thing?
So I was preparing for a system design interview, and I couldn't find anything, like really anything on that topic. And multiple companies had this front-end system design. So we had lots of material on the backend system design. So it was pretty standard. But for front-end was something new. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm not the only one who is struggling with that. So I tried to connect with a few people on LinkedIn to explain what is that, but I could only get like some vague answers. And I just decided, okay, what if I can try to build some framework to try to pass this interview? And if so many people are struggling with that, why don't I share that with people so it can also help them? And I also documented all my preparation journey, actually. So I had a journal, and this journal was around 280 days, where every day I posted what I learned about what I did, like all the problems I solved, what are the books I read, and so on. And it's right now it's also available on the internet, by the way.
We'll definitely post it in the description for the episode.
No.
No. Okay. Well, And and really, like, I think your story is really interesting, specifically for Frontend Masters, because you were a customer for many, many years before you even, before we even connected. Like, I guess I would ask, you've taken a lot of courses. Like, how did Frontend Masters help in your journey?
So I think it really helped me to understand how JavaScript works internally, especially the courses from Kyle Simpson and Will Sentence. I think that
JavaScript, the hard parts.
One of the best courses on the platform. And I think this one of my top one. And it really helped me to understand how kind of everything works. And it also gave me the reference point, how to find the material. When they will explain how the native API work, like how the browser called them and so on, so I was trying to find some references point. So I went to the spec, tried to learn how everything works internally. So it gave me kind of inspiration. Okay, I actually need to dive deeper to understand this better.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, and then Kyle Simpson's deep JavaScript foundations is just really, really deep. But Will's ability to explain is amazing. So I would say that's probably the most loved course on the platform. It's just there isn't a lot there's a lot of JavaScript syntax, but how does the actual runtime and the event loop and closure work and that kind of thing. Cool. And so you went from customer to actual teacher on the platform, and being on this side of it, being a teacher, I don't know, what was your experience? You taught workshop yesterday, and
so I think I thought that presenting the workshop would be the hardest, but it turns out to be much easier than just giving a small talk on the conference, because I don't know, like the atmosphere in the studio is quite calm, and I had this confidence that okay, I'll just need to go for the workshop. I worked on that for the last 4 months, but the more
4 months, yeah,
yeah, I think I started to work on the course in Jan.
yeah.
Then I bought a ticket to Thailand and moved to Thailand for 1 month. I took the
Wow.
PTO on my job just to work on a course. I rented an office in Thailand, and
That's that persistence and work ethic that you're talking about. Literally took a month off, went to Thailand, and
because for me it was not just like, for me it was an opportunity. I don't know. I just wanted to share the knowledge with people. I actually started to really like this because I think the more you give to the community, the more you comes back in some sense.
Absolutely.
So because I met so many amazing people by just giving the knowledge on the YouTube, and I think this is also an opportunity for me to build this high quality material, so people use this course for their career, and they may say, okay, the course from Evgenii is actually amazing, and it helped me a lot in my journey. That's what I would probably I wish to hear in the future. So hopefully,
Absolutely. I think the systems design for front end will do really well.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you'll get that feedback. Absolutely. And then, do you have any advice for people who are looking to get into teaching? Maybe they're thinking about making a YouTube channel or blogging their 280 days learning adventure.
Okay, so I'll share my story here. I had so many doubts before I published the video on YouTube. It was a very bad sound quality, and it was also not very well structured. But the first videos I published are the most popular one and the most liked one, apparently. And so if you have any doubts, just do that. How would I phrase that? You can't be perfect from the first attempt.
Absolutely.
Just do a try. Don't worry about being judged or criticized. I guess you will learn on the way, and also the feedback that you can get from the comments will also help you to improve the content. So I think sharing is one of the best way to actually get better at what you do. So because when you prepare the material, even for me in this case, when I was preparing the material for the workshop, I went through the CSS spec just to verify that all my knowledge is correct. And actually, I had a few preconception that actually not true. And reading the CSS spec helped me a lot to improve my knowledge. So, and yeah, the best way to become an expert in your field is actually to teach others. So I would encourage to share your knowledge, and even if you have a doubt, so don't worry about that. Just do that.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice. Get it out there and iterate with the community and what you learn from the community. I mean, that's how I learned. I grew leaps and bounds through open source, through releasing my code open source, and people, giving me tips along the way, and sometimes critical feedback on the code, but it's feedback nonetheless, and you can use it to grow. So absolutely. And then do you have anything either personal or career-wise on the horizon that you're really looking forward to or excited about?
You mean the career advancement, or
either career advancement or personal, just something you're really excited about?
To be honest, if I had more spare time, I would spend it more on YouTube, just trying to create more content. I really enjoy that, but it takes so much effort.
Sure, yeah.
So I don't have any folks that help me with the videos, and so I had to all edit myself and so on. But I could hire potentially some people that will help me to edit this. But I actually love the process of editing. But yeah, if I had more spare time, I would definitely publish more content on YouTube. But for now, I think I really love to be an engineer and solve technical problems. So I would see myself in the next 4-5 years, maybe still staying engineer, just trying to dive into the more deeper, complex issues and learn more about the web itself. But I would also imagine that I want to improve myself in teaching, and the Frontend Master course was one of my challenges that I set for myself, that I want to start teaching on some public platform, and I also want to improve my presentation skills.
Yeah, well, congrats, you did it, and
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what type of things are you working on at Meta at the moment, or can you not talk about it?
I cannot talk about on it directly. So right now I just work on WhatsApp, and yeah, we are building some rich application platform for WhatsApp.
Cool. And then do you have any crazy bucket list things? Like you talk about hiking. Is there any mountain that you're like eyeing that you really want to, or a challenge?
No, actually, I really want to learn FPV. So I already bought the FPV drone.
Okay.
So
that's where you put like the headset on and you fly super fast.
I have a normal DJI drone, and I think I'm quite good at that, like shooting the videos. But I really want to learn the FPV, and it takes so many hours to actually learn the FPV. So I already have around 80 hours in my in my simulator. But it's still not enough before like buying the drone. So I think my next challenge would be to get better in FPV and start shooting the videos in FPV.
That's awesome. Yeah. Look forward to seeing some of those videos. Definitely share them when you make them. You know, looking back at your career, you kind of talked about persistence. Would you say there's common theme to getting you here?
I think persistence, and the second thing is trying something new and exploring crazy ideas. Like, not everyone wants to relocate from the country, because I understand that it's a big stress. You're changing your environment. Your friends may stay in your country, and then you need to build a new community around you. But I think with such steps comes the great results. So you need really to go out of your comfort zone to be better. So trying something new is always a good way. How can you improve yourself? I would say learning the language is also pretty important. Like, if you're not from English-speaking country, make sure that you actually learn the languages. The more languages you learn in your childhood, the better, because it just basically gives you the advantage that you can speak with most of the world. And if I had a chance, if I was smart enough in my childhood, I would study English more earlier, because my mother is actually English teacher. and you know what I
should have listened to mom from the early.
You know what I said when
days.
I was 12? She said, "Evgenii, you need to learn language." And I said, "Oh, I want to play football. Why do I need language?" It was fun. And then when I was 18, I was like, "Yeah, I need a language. I need to learn the English."
Yeah. Sometimes our parents, even if they give us good advice, it isn't until we're older that it's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you were right." But cool. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up. So thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Mark.
And congrats on being a Frontend Masters teacher and going through it and doing it. So look forward to your systems design course on Frontend Masters. So, all right. Cheers. Hey there, before you go, don't forget we're new at this. So any feedback, whether it's a like or subscribe, we'll take those, or a comment about what you didn't like or what you'd like to see more of in the future. We'll definitely incorporate that into the next episodes. I'm really enjoying these conversations. So any type of feedback would be fantastic, and especially sharing it with your friends and colleagues. So really appreciate it. Thanks for listening. See you in the next one.